Hi there everyone, Christian here, back again talking to you. In this video I just want to make a couple of key points, and as usual I'm trying to explain to you what makes this protocol that I've designed, that I discovered really. I mean, it's true I designed it because I had to take a lot of pieces from a lot of different medical systems and translate these and try to make it simple for somebody in our culture to understand. But really what I'm doing here is explaining to you what makes it so effective in comparison to any other approach. And one of those things that I get a lot of questions about, and that a lot of people have at least some justifiable, I wouldn't say confusion, but right, there's a question here lingering in the back of people's minds, which is what makes the self-healing approach so different, and why do we have to do it in 2 stages? Okay. Now, I'll probably put this out as a free video, but for anybody who's already in the protocol too, it's very important to understand self-healing is not like what your doctor offers you. In modern medicine, and I make this point absolutely everywhere that I possibly can, because it's a really crucial point in your healing journey to really get this point, really nail this down. You got to really, I want to say digest this, right? But that's a terrible pun. But you have to figure out that this is actually true. And the sooner you understand that this is true, the faster you get started on healing yourself. The modern medical system, the point is this, the modern medical system is designed for emergency medical care. Now, it's not the absolutely only thing that it can do, but by and large, right, almost all of modern medicine from the ground up was designed as it's emergency care. It's, you know, you broke your leg skiing, or you're in a bad car wreck, or like if I'm in an emergency medical crisis situation where, you know, my life is in danger, I'm going straight to modern medicine. I'm going straight to the emergency room, right? I'm going straight to that medical system because it's the best that's ever been. And for thousands and millions and tens of millions of years, human beings died from every kind of trauma, infectious agent, acute illness, injury, anything at all, right, would do us in. And then along came 100-odd years ago this incredible revolution in the way that medical science looked at and thought about health and thought about healing, right? And we were able, right, to a remarkable extent. I mean, it is a miraculous achievement that we have all of this emergency medicine around us. And I'm not saying, right, most people watching this do have access to emergency care to one degree or another. Not everybody has that privilege, right? So we have to be very, if you're going to be critical of modern medicine, you have to do it with the proper understanding that no, it is a miracle, and it is the most remarkable system that's ever existed. I mean, by a wide margin. But, and here's the point of today's video, right? And of almost all the videos where I'm talking about, anytime I'm talking about this topic, comparing the 2 medical systems. The problem, of course, is it is not designed at all to deal with chronic conditions. And what do people in the world today suffer from most? Like, when's the last time you had to rush to the hospital because you were bleeding out, or you were banged up from a car wreck, or you fell off a motorcycle, or whatever, right? When you actually had an emergency condition. Again, bravo, and we're all very pleased, or we should be. We should be properly respectful that the modern medical system is as good as it is at stopping death, right? When you're right at death's door, these people can save your life in the emergency room. And a lot of modern medicine is just built around its capability of putting a stop to really seriously dangerous situations where lives are at stake. And right, we even have TV shows that applaud doctors who can, right, we dramatize the whole thing because doctors are heroes, right, and all the rest of it. Battlefield kind of conditions, right, where you can staunch a wound, you know, save a person's life from you know, everything from snake bites to, right. There's hundreds and hundreds of examples you could give about how great modern medicine is. But when's the last time you were actually in a plane crash and had, right? When's the last time you actually, your car went off a bridge, you know, and you got stuck inside at the bottom of the river? I remember reading a story how mother and child were brought back to life. They were at the bottom of a freezing cold river in Austria for like 45 minutes. and both of them were revived, and the little girl had brain damage, but then they relieved the pressure on her skull, and she actually grew up and grew out of all the neurological damage like she was a normal kid. Like, that's impossible. That's an impossible feat that modern medicine really just makes routine, okay? But there's not a lot of people driving off bridges and getting stuck at the bottom of a freezing cold river in the middle of the winter in Austria. It just doesn't happen that often. But what does happen really frequently? Chronic conditions, right? Tens of hundreds of millions of people are dealing with chronic symptoms every single day of your life. And if you're watching this, you're probably one of them. So should you be using an emergency acute care medical system for your chronic conditions? Well, not if you have a better option, okay? The entirety of what it is that I'm teaching you comes down to this statement, really, which is we're not healing your chronic condition. If you're studying the IBS protocol, the pivot protocol for acid reflux, I'm not healing your condition. You're not even healing your condition. Your body will heal your condition. Your job is to create the conditions for your organs, which will be badly out of balance. If you have a chronic internal digestive imbalance, a chronic internal digestive illness or condition of any stripe, okay, then you need to create the conditions so that what I call, those of you who are first finding me here for the very first time, your pivot can come back into balance. Pivot is your liver and stomach, your spleen and intestines, and I'm teaching you how to put these organs back in the type of relationship with one another where, right, if you're sick chronically with digestive illness, it means your organs are out of balance, which means they are working against one another. So what we have to do, and what you're learning to do, that makes this program so different, right? It's not even that I'm healing you or that you're healing you or that the techniques are healing you. No, your body knows how to heal on its own. But we got to put the organs in the proper working relationship with one another so that your liver isn't going out of control and causing damage to all your other organs, so that your spleen isn't exhausted and building up all kinds of dampness and sludge, so that your intestines aren't overwhelmed with food stagnation and mucus, so that your body doesn't overheat, causing symptoms of dryness. Okay? And if you look at it through the lens of, well, wait a second, I know how to get heat out of my liver. I can teach you that. You could learn how to do that today. You could learn how to do that by tonight, right? You could make your liver in balance, where your liver is overheating and getting out of control and causing all kinds of havoc on your other pivotal organs. You can do that today. And that means your other organs will start to respond today. And if you can do that consistently, day after day, just a little bit more understanding, I learned something, it applies to my situation, I'll apply that solution for that specific problem. And suddenly, like, the whole system starts to come back together, like gears, right? Meshing again together. And suddenly your organs are working the way they're designed to do. And suddenly you wake up, or you notice at some point, that your body's recovering, because your body knows how to recover. Your body knows how to recover. The point of today's video is to make it clear to you exactly what it is that we're doing, right? You're healing your body by creating the right conditions for your body to heal itself. Okay? And you do that by, picture it, we're like pulling levers and pulleys, and right? We're changing the relationship between your organs by affecting very, very simple things. Very, very simple things. Self-healing is different in that way. We're not interrupting proper function of stuff, right? When your doctor gives you a pill, or gives you a steroid, or gives you a laxative, right? That kind of very harsh. The trouble with those kinds of approaches, which are they're very reductionistic. They tend to shrink everything down and go, okay, if you have reflux, just block acid. It's like, wait a second, like, you need your stomach acid. If you have constipation, just take a laxative. Like, no, you take a laxative, you make your condition worse, because what does that do? You flush everything out of your intestines. Obviously, you make yourself way sicker, right? Flushing stuff out of your body makes you dependent on medicines that flush out your intestines. You need to get your elimination working properly without using those kinds of harsh solutions, right? You don't want to make your imbalance in your organ worse. We want the organs to come back, build up your health, build up your vigor again so that these things start to work together. When you take short-term solutions for long-term chronic digestive problems, picture it, it's a pendulum, right? You're way sick over here, and then you take this really harsh solution, a laxative or whatever, right? Acid reflux acid blocker. Boom, you swing it way back here. And all the while, the pendulum swinging back and forth from this illness to this illness, and your body never comes back to that central place where everything is working together again. That's what you're learning to do inside the protocol. We do that in two separate steps. The phase 1 material is, and if you think about it, if you're following what I'm telling you, this is logical. You should say, well, that makes sense, right? Because if you're following along, in order for healing to occur, I say this to people too when I consult with them or I answer questions via email. You're sick, and there's actually 4 or 5 or 8 or 9 things that you do on a normal, regular basis without realizing it to cause part of your organs to be out of balance. Now, I never met anybody with any digestive illness of any duration at all who wasn't doing at least 3 of these things wrong. Okay? So phase 1 is, let's put a stop to all the harm that you may be doing to your organs without realizing it. Look, I'm not saying that you're doing this on purpose. Nobody's ever taught you this. It's not like it's in modern medicine to teach patients like, hey, you should doctors take maybe 1 class in all of medical school that talks about nutrition, but it's 50-year-old knowledge. It's stuff that if you understand what medical school is and how hard it is to change medical curriculum, do you know how much knowledge and breakthrough kind of understanding of something like diet has happened in the last 50 years? We have more foods and refrigeration and all of these things that have happened in the last century, right? And they're still studying, if they study it at all. Talk to doctors about their education in nutrition and self-healing. They won't even know what you're talking about, right? And a lot of them admit very sheepishly, I worked with doctors for years, and some of them would pull me aside, like, hey, listen, nobody ever taught us this. Like, no, we don't get this in medical school. Everything is focused on, right, their very reductionistic kind of training, which is not good for chronic conditions. It's great for emergency conditions, but it ain't good for chronic conditions at all. In fact, most of it, as most of you have discovered, is very counterproductive. So the self-healing thing is different. We got to put a stop to anything that you're doing unconsciously, right? Not because you meant to, I understand. But we put a stop to that in the phase 1. Why? Because you can't go on to all of the advanced healing techniques until we put a stop to any self-inflicted harm. You can't. If you're creating problems every single day because you're making mistake 3, 7, 8, 9, and 13, right? I go through 13 different myths in the phase 1 to just sort of show you, like, look, I know a lot of New Age gurus online and a lot of people with really, really sketchy kind of training because, they read a book about Ayurveda or something, right, who want to tell you, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z because that's the secret to health and longevity and all the rest. It's like, no, it's not. And even if it helps some people, it's going to cause problems to other people who have specific organ imbalances. My thing is always to teach you to focus on your organ imbalance. We're always focusing on, but what's the body saying today? What do the symptoms say today, right? And a lot of these things that are touted as sort of New Age, right, Curealls, right, which are nothing but, if they even contain positive thinking, I'm being generous here, okay? But they're not much more than that. It's like, hey, if you believe in this, it might help you. I don't care about any of that. I hate all that crap. I hate it because it undermines your ability to think. It's insulting, actually. It's insulting. It's like, well, you're a grown adult, but if you just think positive, right, the world will be a wonderful place for you. Bullshit, right? Everybody knows that's nonsense, right? There's this thing called you got to take the right actions, which means you better have some kind of logical system where you can try something based on some kind of theoretical reasoning and then come up with, like, well, did we get the right answer or not? Like, what are the symptoms now? Oh, my symptoms changed. Okay, great. What happened? Did it work? If it did work, do we know what we did that worked? Okay? Phase 1, stop harming your organs unintentionally. I'm not blaming anybody here. If nobody taught you this, how would you know? right? That these 13 myths are sinking your ship. I was going to say the metaphor I always use when people contact me is, imagine you're on a boat and the boat is sinking, right? Probably the first most important thing is let's stop the water from coming into the boat. Everything else you do, like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, right, is pretty superfluous. It's pretty unimportant what else you do until you put a stop to the water that's sinking the ship. So that's phase one. We want to put a stop to any self-inflicted harm. And then in the advanced training, there's all kinds of ways to combine foods for specific symptoms, imbalances. Once we know, by the time you start the advanced training, you know what to look for. You know, okay, my liver's doing this today, and I know my spleen is acting like this because I know what symptoms pertain, right? Here's one organ. Here's all the symptoms that belong to that organ. Do you have them? Yes or no? Here's another organ. What's going on in your intestines? Here's all the symptoms that you look for. Okay, do I have this? No. This? Yes. This? Oh boy, I have a lot of symptoms going on in that organ. What do we do to fix it? Combine foods this way. That's where the advanced training gets really, really, really rich and deep and very helpful for people very quickly. And I know a lot of people write me asking about this, and they want the solution. They want the advanced solutions first. It's like, but I don't know what foods you should eat, and neither do you. That's why we have to have phase one, where I introduce how your pivot works. Here's a couple of things you're probably doing to cause your own digestive illness and disruption. And now we're going to move on to the advanced training. Remember, phase one takes all of maybe 3 days, maybe. I mean, you can do it in a day. You could watch the whole thing in a day and put a stop to anything that you're doing. The advanced training is advanced. It takes a good, I tell people, give yourself 30 to 60 days. That's a reasonable time frame if you want to really internalize all of the things that you need to know in order to do a good job. Remember, it's like, okay, so you have a couple of days to get started and then maybe 1 to 2 months to master the system. That's for the rest of your life, my friends. That's so that you can heal your body and stay healed. And if you have a flare-up right down the road in 6 months or 2 years or 10 years, you go, I know exactly what to do for this because I know exactly, he taught me exactly how to deal with my specific symptoms, combining foods to get rid of that quickly, and boom, your body bounces back. Why? Because you ate some magical thing that I told you about, or I gave you some magical miracle supplement? No, not at all. Because you know how to create the right conditions inside your body so that your organs get into the right relationship again, right? When they get out of relationship, you put them back in the right relationship, and the whole system works again, and your body heals itself. Okay? That's all I want to say in this short video. I hope that's clear, but there's very, very good reason medically why we have to do things in the proper order. And I made phase one very short for a reason. A lot of people get tremendous relief from phase one because I have people write me every week. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to drink that. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to eat in that order. All of these things matter. It really matters. If you're doing that, you're causing your own illness. When you put a stop to that, then we can move on to the advanced training, and then you really do have healthy digestion for life. Okay, which is what I want for all of you. So if you haven't gotten started yet, if you're watching this as a free video, I just encourage you, get started on the protocol, whether it's IBS or acid reflux or anything in between. Okay, you can fix your digestive symptoms. That's what I'm here to help you do. Okay, thanks very much.